Hi Aquarius, welcome to your week ahead horoscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant signs. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Aquarius, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general reads. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your key to the week this week, we have the Sun card, right? Sunny blessings. I will take that every day of the week. Now remember, this is kind of like in a lot of ways it's a cosmic green light sort of energy. I would say to you as well, if you're planning to launch anything or you've got anything that you're hoping to do, remember that Venus is currently retrograde and will be until the 29th, and Mercury is slowing down already actually, but will go retrograde on the 15th in the sign of Aquarius, right? So we're going to feel this. I myself am a sun sign Aquarian, so we're going to feel this more than most until it comes out of the sign of Aquarius back into the sign of Capricorn, and then it's going to come back into Aquarius, right? And so the retrograde period will actually end on the 3rd of February, but then obviously there's going to be the post shadow period as well, so just keep that in mind. All right, but if there is something that you want to get done, I would say right up to and including sort of the 13th, right? So the first sort of 3 days of this week, you kind of got a little window where you can get something sort of off the ground, initiated, etc. Now the fact that we got the Sun card kind of suggests that you might sneak something through while Mercury's back is turned, or while Venus isn't looking. It kind of feels like that, right? Sometimes I see the planets as like celestial parents in a sense. And it kind of feels like this week we might be able to just kind of eke past with something, right? Because we've got that Sun card, which it's always a mitigating factor when there are challenges around. And it also suggests a much easier time of it. This is blessings, abundance, light, heat. It's also just fun and enjoyment, right? And I think we could all use some of that right now. When it comes to your actions and options this week, you have the Moon card, right? So this is very interesting to me. And it does suggest that the full moon that's going to take place at the end of this week going into the beginning of next week, so on the 17th, I know you can't see that because of the lighting, but it's very dark here today. So the fact that you've got the Moon card as your actions and options, it looks like, so at the moment it looks like a lot of you have got, there's lots going on behind the scenes. Maybe there's things that you're hoping to put together or put out into the world. And it's like you're having to work really hard at the moment. Now, the reason I say this is because you've got the Sun card and the Moon card. That's new moon energy, right? If we were to talk about this in terms of astrology, that when the Sun and the Moon come together, that's a new moon. It's a time of initiations. But this feels more like a time of incubation to me. It's like this week, we've got a lot going on behind the scenes, and there's this feeling, it's not quite confusion, when you're like, you kind of know something but you don't, and you kind of know where you're going but you're not 100%, and then when you check the map or the sat nav, you're like, oh okay, yeah, I actually do know where I'm going. This kind of feels like this might be this kind of week. Now I am going to say this to you, we've got Venus retrograde, we've got the Mercury about to go retrograde, you've got the Moon card in your actions and options. Aquarius, 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 Sun, Moon or Rising. Here, look. I got my ruler, right? I'll beat your fingers if I find out you text it out here, texting exes, all of these people in your past. Leave it alone, right? This is not the week, because the Moon card tends to bring someone or something back from the past, but this is in your actions and options, which means you may be treading memory lane. Now, with the Sun card here, it may not be as bad as it could be, but I do feel like there might end up being some regret in there. All right, so my advice to you would be, do not go down memory lane this week. There's nothing good there for you. All right, for your communications and conversations, you've got that Eight of Swords. So this, when this shows up for communications, there's a few ways that it can happen, right? One, it could suggest that maybe communication is a little bit slower this week, which makes sense. Mercury is going retrograde. It could also suggest as well, because it's underneath the Sun card, something that you are wanting to do, some big project that you have, maybe something that you are working on behind the scenes. it's requiring a lot more effort at the moment, right? You're really having to dig into this. And more importantly, because it is the Eight of Swords, keep it mum. This is not the week to talk about your plans. It's not the week to reveal projects to, you know, anybody outside of what you consider your genuine inner sanctum, right? This is not the week for you to be sharing your big plans or those big goals and hopes and aspirations that you've got. Keep it shush this week, right? Now, when it comes to those of you that are employed by somebody else, this kind of feels like some sort of advancement, that it's like, you know, like, it kind of reminds me, a bit of an extreme example, but I don't know if you ever saw Aragon. Great books, film was trash. It was, I'm sorry to say that, but it was awful. It was not bad, it was really, really, really bad. But there's a moment in that where, you know, the main bad dude in charge, you know, cuts down one of his army and says, right, now you've been promoted. And for a second he's like, oh, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, I've just been promoted into, you know, this could be something like this. Newfound responsibilities, maybe even a hike in finances, etc., you know, with the work, which could be great, but it's like it comes with so many other strings or caveats, it's hard to kind of enjoy it. When it comes to those of you that are self-employed, business owners, etc., this is it, right? This is the week where you've got to dig in, you've got to knuckle in. Now, a lot of you got the message last year that you could go off on your plans, you could work on whatever it is that you needed to work on, but you would have to really show up. This is that time, right? This is that time. No matter what is going on, you have to show up. You have to continue to show up from this moment on. This week is all about the hard graft. It's all about the hard work. When it comes to those of you that are retired or no longer working, this actually is encouraging you to stand still for a moment and ask yourself, if you feel like you're at a crossroads, if you feel like there's something else that you should or could be doing, first of all, get rid of those words from your vocabulary. But, you know, all jokes aside, this could be a week where you really do start to understand, okay, it's time for a new direction, but I'm not entirely sure what that entails just yet. And sometimes that's the best thing to do, right? To chalk it up and say, I don't know. I actually don't know at the moment. And that way the Sun card has the chance to say, well, okay, you don't know, but I do. Let me give you some moments of breadcrumbs, or do you know what I mean? For your love and relations, you have the Temperance card, right? So this, coupled with that Eight of Swords, I would advise you this week, if the partner is having challenges or issues with their family, stay out of it. All right, that's the best piece of advice I can give you this week. You've got the Moon card here, which suggests you may think you're doing well, but you could just end up making it worse. You've got the Eight of Swords here, which almost suggests that you may agree to something and not realize what you're signing up for, and you may end up making it worse. Do not allow yourself to get sucked into a partner's drama this week. Let them do it on their own. Let them figure it out on their own. Be on the sidelines, be there to support, to, you know, shoulder to cry and all the rest of it, but do not get involved yourself. Really, really important that you let them handle this one on their own. When it comes to those of you that are single, I mean, honestly, because and just with the cards that have come up, there is going to be a blast from the past this week. And I kind of want to say to a lot of you Aquarians, because, you know, there's a lot going on for us at the moment in the sky, and I almost want to say to you, is it that they showed up and then you started thinking about them, or is it that you started thinking about them and you manifested them showing up? This could be a week where you really need to check your energy, where you really need to check your intention, because it might be you that's bringing this thing or this person back from the past, you know, through your very energy. Get that under control this week. For your money and materials, you got the Tower card. All right, so I mean, the Sun card is working hard this week, right? Because we've got that blessings, abundance, like all of that ease, and then we've got these kind of quite challenging cards. But with that Tower card, this, I mean, for a lot of you, this could be a big change in your financial outlook. This could be a moment at which you really start to lock into that, oh my gosh, this is where I sabotage myself financially, or oh my gosh, this is where I'm getting in my own way of having that abundance that I really want. It's underneath the Eight of Swords. Don't be surprised this week if you are expected to foot the bill for something. I gotta be honest with you, with this combination of cards, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody asks you for money. And I'm gonna say, whether it's a friend or a family member, if you go down that route, it's likely to bite you in the ass later on, because you either won't get it back, you won't get it back in the time that you hope for, or it may be that you loan that money out and just at the moment that you lend it out is the moment that you're actually going to need it. It's very rare for me to say like, oh, you know, if someone asks you for money, don't do it, but not this week. All right, when it comes to your physical health and vitality, the Tower card is your nervous system, right? You really do need to look after yourself. Self-care this week, lots of it, right? Whatever that looks like for you. So more of it. And then when it comes to your home and environment, please be careful with anything and or electrical items. This, you know, the Tower card is kind of there. It does suggest as well, because you've got the Eight of Swords, it wouldn't surprise me if there was either a power cut, an internet shortage, or outage of some sort wherever you are. So if that happens, take it on the chin and say to yourself, okay, well, what can I do instead? All right. All in all, going to be an interesting week for sure. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.